Welcome back, everyone. We're going to continue learning pandas, but what I like to do is to actually to use pandas and a couple of other libraries, such as Matplotlib, for doing actual data analysis. So this is getting into data mining and data visualization. And we're going to get started by analyzing baby names, and we're going to have other projects coming up, and I think it's worthwhile going through these videos. I hope you watch them. I am going to split these into multiple videos because it does get fairly long, and I don't want you to have to sit for 2 hours watching a video. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new Python 3 notebook. And I think the last one I created was 22, but let me just double check. Yes. So I'm going to call this one 023 baby names. So let's go ahead and call this 023 baby names. This is going to be the analysis of baby names people pick for their have been picking for their children since the year, I think, 1800. I got this data off of some government website, and it is sitting in this folder. It's a zipped format called names. I'm going to post all this for you. You can look for the links in the description section. So let's get started. I'm going to call this mining baby names. All right. I'm going to import pandas as PD, so we don't have to keep typing pandas. I have not covered Matplotlib, but I mean, I didn't create a separate video for it. I don't think it's necessary. It is a very rich library, of course, but I think it's better if I just use it and explain it to you as we go along. So that's what I'm going to do. There's another one of them that I really don't need, but I think it's worthwhile. So we're going to import zip file, and we will import OS. If at any point you get an error message for any of these when you do a shift enter, you can do a pip install followed by the library name such as matplotlib, but it should be installed. All of these should be part of Python with the exception of pandas, which we installed in a previous lesson. So what I want to do is I want to read in the baby names zip file and extract it. I could do that from the file system directly, but let's just do it via Python. We're going to extract to the local directory, which is designated, as you may recall, by a dot. Okay, so I'm going to call zip file dot zip file with capital Z and capital F names, oops, need to put it in quotes, names.zip. Once I have that, I can call the method extract all, which is one of the methods built into zip file. And extract everything into the local directory. Let's do a shift enter here, and once the kernel stops running, okay, I got an error message. It says zip has no attribute called zip file. Let's check and see what's the problem, because it used to have this attribute. And of course, my spelling is the problem. This is zip file. There we go. If we take a look at our folder here now, you notice that there's a folder, at least I hope there's a folder, there it is, names, that was created and everything was extracted. We will take a look at this via Python too, but just for fun, let's take a look at YOB, which is short for year of birth 1880. And if you were to look at one of these, you can see that it has the first names, followed by what the gender, followed by how many people named their kid, for instance, Mary. And it appears that they were ordered by the total number of people who named their kids that. Of course, further down the list, you have the boys, as you can see. And this is done per year. I think it goes up to like 2014, or yep, it does. But we can also view this stuff via Python. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to view the files. So I'm going to call the OS list directory, which we learned about, the folder names, and I want to just look at the first 10 items. So there they are. You can see the PDF followed by the text files. Well, it's looking good. Let's go ahead and use Python commands to open a file. And I'm doing this just so you see the difference between using pure Python versus the library Pandas, which we're going to be doing. So for Python, I would have to say open and then go into the names directory, get YOB 2011, let's say, .txt for read-only mode R, and then I'm going to call the readlines method and get the first 10 files, 10 entries. You can see that Python, as expected, returns a list. It is by square brackets. You notice that the line breaks are included as we do this. Now, let's go ahead and use Pandas commands to read the same file and assign the results to a variable. Of course, we could have assigned this result to a variable too, goes without saying. So names 2011, let's say. Let me put an underscore here, make it look nicer. So we're going to call pandas, call read CSV, although this is not a CSV file, it is a text file. CSV works for it too. So I'm going to say read, underscore CSV, and hand it the folder and YOB 2011.txt. And then let's take a look at names 2011 and look at the head, the first 10 items. We can also do tail, of course. Take a look at how much more attractive this is. Of course, there's a small problem is treating Sophia as a header, but we can take care of that. That's not a problem. We'll do that actually in a moment. But you see, this is much more attractive using pandas. Let's go ahead and adjust the heading. So I'll just copy and paste this whole thing and make the change. So remember that one of the things we have in many of these functions is a second parameter. So I'm going to say names is equal to name, sex, and let's say number. Now this names is not something I made up. This is basically short for column names, and I wish they had called it column names, but they call it names. If I do this now, I get basically the second parameter, which gives the column heading. I get that, and I get the list of my names. Looking good. You can always give the head command by itself. So I can say names 2011.head without any parameter, and that's going to return 5 results for you. You can also look at the tail command without giving any parameter. It gives you the last 5 results. As you can see, some people love to torment their children by putting names like that on them. So certainly we can do that. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a new list that contains all the names from all the years, and you're going to love this. I will also add a year column. Let's take a look at this step by step. I'm going to create a names all list, which is an empty list, and I'm going to use a for loop for year in range 1880, and I like to put in 2014 plus 1. Obviously you can say 2015, but remember the last index is not included, and this is my way of saying that the last index is actually 2014 and I want it to be included. You don't have to do it like that. You can say 2015 if that's what you like. Names all that append, and take a look at this. I am going to read CSV names, quotes, names /YOB. I know that there is a format here. I'm going to put a placeholder .txt and call the format method of the string and put in the year. So the year 1880 will be placed in here. This will become YOB 1880.txt, which is the first year, and then 1881, 1882, etc. Okay. I also, inside of the read CSV, for the second parameter, I like to have the names, which designates the column names to be name, sex, and number as we had before. Okay. Finally, outside of the for loop, actually, I apologize, inside the for loop. So inside the for loop, I'm going to take names all and go to the last column. So this would be the final column. I'm going to add a new column, and this is how you add a new column. You just put it in, and I'm going to assign it that particular year. Let's go ahead and do a shift enter here, and I got an error message here. Let's see what the problem appears to be here. Names all. I think I might have missed the parentheses up here. Yes, there you go. So this is all taken care of. All right, let's take a look at names all. And do shift enter. So you can see this is returning this huge list for us. And you can very clearly see that this is going all the way down. It's big. Everything is basically been put together. So now what I like to do is I want to now place all the list elements, basically data frames that we have, into a single data frame. So each list element is a data frame over here. I like to put them all into a single data frame. And there's a beautiful function available or method available with pandas that helps you do that. So I'm going to call all years, and this is going to be my pandas concat command. Concat takes a list that has, say, data frames in it in this case, and concatenates them all together, puts them all in together. And I can take a look at all years dot, let's say, head. Check it out. So you can see that we have our header, there's the year column we added. We can also look at all years dot tail, and this shows you 2014, as you can see very clearly, working beautifully, working very well. So I think well, let's take one more thing, and then I'll stop the video and create a second video for the next of it, for the rest of it, or additional videos. So I'm going to create a new data frame that is indexed by sex. You can see currently we have the default index, which just is a number, a numerical value. We can clearly see that in this large data frame we have over 33,000 rows available. Okay, so we're going to index it by sex, then by name, then by year. Okay. Let's sort the data also. Put a little semicolon here. So all years indexed is going to be all years that we created. And we're going to call the set index method of a data frame. And the set index method lets you pick the index that you want, or the indices that you want. You give it a list. I want to index this first by sex, then by name, and then by year. I could do this and then call the sort method on it, but I can call the sort method right here. I'm going to call sort index right off the bat. So let's take a look at what this is going to do. This is going to take our frame and change its index to this, and then, I'm sorry, this is a period, call the sort index method on that and assign it to this variable. Remember, in Python, everything on the right runs first and then gets assigned to what's on the left. So I'm going to do shift enter here. This is created. Let's check it out. All years indexed. we can clearly see it's not showing everything. It shows 180 or 1.8 million columns right here. I have the gender, and then we have the name, and then we have the year. You can see that it's sorted by gender first, then by name, then within that by year, and it shows you the numbers. Okay, this is why you see these small numbers showing up. For instance, there's no Mary here because we're doing the sorting the way we are doing the sorting. Okay, now if I want to look up someone, let's go ahead and look up Mary since we're talking about it. I can do all years indexed dot lock, as you recall from our pandas session, and here I can look up a female named Mary. And this is going to give me a pretty large list. As you can see, these little dot dot dots, 135 rows. What if I just want to get the first 5? So I can do dot head, and I can see that there it is, the year and the number are showing up because I went after, I've specified I want a sex, and then for name I said I wanted to have Mary. Let's do a boy also. So I'm going to do all years indexed, and let's say a boy, Joseph, and let's do head, and we should get all the Josephs back. Kernel's still busy. Up here, over here. Oops, I got an error message, and why is this? Oops, I forgot my dot lock, sorry. Silly me. There we are. So these are all the Josephs who are named. If you've heard the Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, let's actually see if anybody named their boys Sue. Indexed dot lock, a boy named Sue. And let's take a look at it. Sadly, some people actually did what Johnny Cash says in his song, A Boy Named Sue. So I'm going to stop the video at this point, and we'll continue with this in the next several videos. As always, thank you for watching and being a great audience. If you're enjoying these videos, please share them with your loved ones and friends. See you in the next video.